Hey everybody, it's Norm. Welcome back to another episode of Behind the Garage Door. Will and I today are going to head south, way south from here in Plant City to Wauchula, Florida, and talk to some friends of the family named Jim and Debbie who are true car enthusiasts. So Will and I finally made it out to Wauchula, Florida, and we're here at the home of Jim and Debbie Pyle. And first of all, Jim, what an amazing piece of property and beautiful home you have.
Well, thank you. Glad to have you here.
Thank you very much for having us.
Appreciate you making the trip.
Absolutely. It was a fun trip on the way down. Trail Boss did wonderful, by the way. So this is a beautiful home, and I was telling Will not too long ago on a previous episode that we did, I love the homes that have the drive-through area that go back into the garages, and that's the way yours is designed.
Exactly.
And you've got a 6-car garage back here?
That's correct, yes. With
vehicles ranging from
1949 to 2019.
That's a wide variety.
Yes.
Why don't we? What is this actually called? Is there a name for this?
Porte cochere.
Porte cochere. Sounds very French. I told you it was European. Jim, take us back here so we can see your fantastic collection.
Be happy to.
My goodness sakes, first of all, the building itself is perfect. It's just perfect, but
thank you.
The collection of vehicles that you have here, it runs the gambit, pretty much.
Yes.
British cars.
British,
Italian, German.
And there's been a lot of rotation over the years.
Has there?
Yes, I'm very blessed. I have a wife that loves cars as much as I do. And we were trying to count how many we've had since we got married, and we ran out. So.
You couldn't keep up with them.
Yeah, we've had Japanese in there, and well, just a wide assortment.
So the collection that you have now, is there any plan on replacing any of these anytime soon, or are you kind of happy with what you have?
Kind of happy with what we have right now.
Let's want to start over here on the left, and
sure.
Let's talk about this British vehicle that you have here.
This is a 1949 MG TC. You'll notice it's right-hand drive. All of them were. This was a home market car, but even the cars shipped to the States were right-hand drive. The car shipped over here had little bumperettes, which the home market cars didn't have, but other than that, they're pretty much indistinguishable. We've had this car over 30 years.
Have you really?
We've owned this car longer than any other car we've ever had, and a lot of that's thanks to my best friend, George Butts, whom we all know from Cars and Coffee. He has a comprehensive knowledge of the cars and the technical skills to match. And bless his heart, he's made a lot of trips down to Wauchula over the last 30 years, helping me keep this car the way it is. And its name is Speedy because it's not. And
kind of like calling a big guy tiny.
Yes. And I love this car. I don't get out on the big roads with it anymore, but one of the nice things about living in a rural community is go down at the end of the driveway, I can go left or go right and hit country roads. And,
well, with the property that you have here, I mean, I think your driveway is at least 3 or 4 miles long. So
yeah,
you can
not
just
quite.
Take the driveway out and turn around and come back.
That's what the Collier brothers did up in New York State. But anyhow, I love this little car. It's not going anywhere. Plus, it's the only car I own that has enough ground clearance to get over the lift.
Oh, is there a lift under there?
Yeah, there's a small body
nice.
Shop lift under there.
Very nice. So what power is this little MG?
This is a 1200cc 4-cylinder with a whopping 55 horsepower.
1200 cc's. There are motorcycles now
–
with bigger engines than what's in this little car.
Yeah.
It looks like when you're sitting in it, the steering wheel would be all the way very close.
It is. But you get used to it, just like you get used to the right-hand drive. And
how difficult is that to get used to?
Not at all.
So the gas pedal and the clutch and the brake are all in the same place as the left-hand drive.
Everything's the same.
But you shift.
Yes.
I think that would be the hardest thing to get used to.
Well, like I've always joked, the shift pattern's in your head. It's not in your hand. Passing is treacherous because you have to get all the way out. But you're not passing anybody.
No, you're probably not.
So that's a moot point.
So
I've never passed anyone in this car.
Never ever been passed a few times?
Oh, I have been passed numerous times.
Numerous times. Now, Jim, before we move on to the next car, you and I were just talking off camera for a second, and I just wanted to tell me again about the grille in this MG.
The grille slats on a TC are always painted the same color as the upholstery.
How many different upholstery colors did they come with?
Not sure. There were very limited colors. This is actually called almond green. You would think it was British racing green, but
Okay.
it's not. It's almond. In some books, it's called Shire's green.
Love this car. We're moving on down the garage a little bit to the next vehicle, which I'm going to venture to say is maybe the second fastest that you have.
Ooh, that's a good question. I don't know.
Because there's another one that we're going to get to here in a minute that I know is fast. But tell me about this Ferrari.
This is a 2011 Ferrari 458. What's special about this, about all 458s, it's the last of the normally aspirated Ferraris. And as a result, is really becoming more and more in demand. And oddly enough, one of the few contemporary exotics that's actually gaining in value.
How many Ferraris have you owned?
15.
15 different Ferraris, ranging from older ones and...
Oh yeah, well when I got into it, they are all. My first Ferrari was a 1967 Ferrari GT3.
Oh, wow.
Black on black. Had brand new wire wheels and brand new leather upholstery, so I was forced to pay the kingly sum of $12,200.
It's a bunch of money back then.
It was, and I love that car, and then that was the start of it all, and we just moved along, and...
What was the most exotic Ferrari that you've had?
Oh, I don't... We had a Daytona for a long time. That
That's
we were
a
really
neat
fond
car.
of. And a Dino that I was especially attached to.
Dinos are super neat too.
It's odd that the cars that Debbie's wanted the most are the cars I've ended up loving the most.
Horsepower rating on the 458?
This is 570.
570. So it will absolutely get up and go. And I see the interior is the stitching and everything matches the red.
Yes, contrasting stitching it's called.
As we move down the row of cars, Jim, we get to this next one, and that I'm actually kind of familiar with a little bit because my dad, growing up, he was always talking about the Austin Healey that his family had when he was a kid. So tell us a little bit about this Healey.
This is a 1960 Austin Healey BN7. It's a little, I don't want to use the word rare, but the majority of these cars had a cutout back around the trunk with a jump seat. This is a true two-seater. To me, it's a more handsome car, and we were just real fortunate to get this. And as Ford Haycock mentioned in a previous episode, Paul Tesouris, right there in Kathleen, is the go-to guy. And he's helped me keep this on the road, and it's just a lot of fun. You'll notice over here is the gearbox.
Holy jeez, it's as big as the car.
Yes, and there's actually a fella named Smitty, and Smitty makes a kit that allows you to bolt a Toyota Supra 5-speed onto the back of a Healey engine.
Really?
And it just transforms the driving dynamics of this car. Instead of a clunky 4-speed with a electric overdrive that you forget to unswitch, you've got a really nice smooth shifting Toyota 5-speed.
And that's what you have in this car now?
That's what I have in this car.
Wow.
And it's very popular, very, very popular. In fact, I'm all starting to wonder when they're going to run out of used Supra gearboxes. There's so many Healey people. Paul was able to find it for me.
You just started grabbing them up.
Yeah, and but it just really makes this car a pleasure to drive. And it's 128 horsepower. It's not a fire breather, but once again, like the MG, very torquey.
4-cylinder?
6.
6-cylinder, straight 6.
The earlies were straight 4s. They were the 100 series, and this is the 3000 series, which is a 3-liter straight 6 dual side draft SU carburetor.
That's a pretty big engine for a car this size.
Yes. This car is actually, the engineer who designed it and engineered it is named Jerry Coker. He's a legend in the Healey world, and he actually retired to Sarasota years ago. And he's actually signed the cam cover on this car for us, and we got to know Jerry, and have a photograph over there of him signing the car. And so this has been exposed to the creator, and it's just another car that Debbie wanted and I've fallen in love with. And
so having that guy sign your car is kind of like Shelby owners having Carroll Shelby.
Exactly.
I got you.
Exactly. Yep. We were at his 60th anniversary party, and I made the poor guy go out in the backyard and sign the car. And then everybody else got the idea, and the poor fella spent his day signing.
You know what? He probably didn't mind.
No, I don't think he did. But he's recently deceased, just very recently, and we miss him. But anyway, this is a fabulous car. This is Healey Blue.
Okay.
Which is the classic Healey color with a navy blue interior. And
spare tire in the back, is that what?
Yes, this has chrome wires, which are also incorrect.
Okay.
These should be painted
wires. But they're
wires.
beautiful.
And about the first thing I was going to do when I got this car was buy a set of painted wires. But I do like those chrome wires, and so they're still on the car.
You know what? If you're going to have anything incorrect on this car, that's the incorrect thing to have, because those wires are beautiful.
Yeah. Those are 48 spoke.
And again, knockoffs.
No, excuse me. Those are 60 spoke. The original car wheels are 48 spoke painted. These are 60 spoke, and you can actually even buy a 72 spoke, which is really busy.
Yeah, it seems like there would be a lot going on there.
Yeah.
How often do you get this one out?
All the time.
So this one, MG doesn't go out very often.
Oh, no, everything goes out all the time.
Okay. So you're not afraid to drive anything?
Absolutely not.
Good. I am so glad to hear that.
No, absolutely not. They go out all the time.
That's cool. Excellent, excellent car. What year again is the Austin Healey?
1960.
1960 Austin Healey. In Healey Blue.
Healey Blue.
All right, Jim, as we get down to the fourth car in this particular stable, when we were standing back talking about the Ferrari, I said, what's the fastest car you own? And you couldn't decide between the Ferrari and this GT3 Porsche.
Correct.
Okay, year and a story behind this beautiful thing.
2018
Fairly new.
Porsche GT3. And we had just purchased a special order to 911 GTS to our specifications. And we're really enjoying the car. Had it about a year or so, but this came up and we just had to grab it. And just love it. We take it on road trips, and we just thoroughly enjoy this car. Everything about it. Took it to lunch yesterday downtown, and 500 horsepower, whereas the Ferrari has 570.
But NA.
Both are NA.
Both are NA. Okay.
Yes, this is the 4-liter naturally aspirated. This is the holdout in the Porsche lineup.
Gotcha.
That's not gone turbo. And just recently superseded by the latest model. But yeah, and this is PDK. I know a lot of the purists like a manual transmission, but when I got rid of my rotary dial phone, I kind of came up to this century. And, so
you probably get a lot of money for that phone on eBay.
Yeah, and so anyway, like this car.
So if you were going to get out and go to lunch, or maybe go over to the coast or whatever, would you take the Porsche or would you take the Ferrari?
Probably the Porsche.
Okay. Now this one has 75 more horsepower than the Ferrari has 75 more horsepower than the Porsche. Are they evenly matched performance-wise, or does this one get the edge?
I feel like they are.
Because I've talked to several different people that own GT3s, and they say it's the best car that they've ever driven, and they love it.
I do. This car has 4-wheel steering, which makes it very nimble, real stable with lane changes and tight turns. Very comfortable, great air conditioning.
Need that in Florida.
Yes, and I just have no complaints about this car. I'm not a big fan of ceramic brakes, and so...
have you had to change the brakes or have any brake service done on?
Yes, I have one hanging on the wall over here. Right here.
Yes.
I've told a lot of people this is the most expensive artwork I've ever hung on a wall.
What, and I'm just curious, and you don't have to answer the question. Let's take the Ferrari, for example. You take it to the Ferrari dealership, and it needs a brake job, because this has ceramic brakes on it as well. You don't have to answer, but what's that bill?
Around $16,000 for the front.
That's just 16 grand for the front.
Yeah.
2018 Porsche GT3. 4-liter.
There are 3.8 liters, but they'll say so back on that little buttress on the rear wing.
On the wing. Okay, we roll over into the other section of the garage, which has two very fine German automobiles represented here. Your wife, Debbie's daily, the Macan, and clearly she is a big fan of Porsche.
Yes.
Because here's her daily, and here's her track car.
Yes.
And tell me about the Cayman.
This is a 2014 Cayman S. We wanted her to have a car for the track, but we didn't want to get it to the point where we couldn't use it on the street. So
Okay.
we've had stock. It has 325 horsepower. But we've had a Cobb software package installed and low restriction air filters. I have no clue what the horsepower is now, but I have a sense at least 25 or 30 extra horsepower. And then we've had some suspension work done to make it more nimble on the track. And so, but it's still a lot of fun to drive. This is sort of my first choice nowadays if I'm going to Tampa or Orlando or someplace.
Hop in this one.
So it's got all these tech stickers here from Debbie's adventures on the track, and yet take it to church on Sunday. It's just a lot of fun.
That's really cool that she loves to do the track driving. And I just have to note, and this is a track car and a car that gets driven, and when you drive a car and when you track a car, things get dirty. This car you could literally eat off of, and the insides of the wheels, which are typically full of dirt and brake dust and everything else, are shiny. I have to compliment you on every single one of your cars. The display that you keep them and the cleanliness that you keep them.
Well, thank you.
Is amazing.
Yeah, dirty rims drive me nuts. I spend a lot of time cleaning rims, but that's okay.
I can tell. And you know, when we walk past your work area over there, everything is right in its place. I can tell you're very meticulous. And when you see a man or a lady's wheels that look like that, that just speaks volumes of how they take care of a car.
Well, I am obsessive about it. This is true. But just a little. But yeah, I'm a little crazy about rims. The inside's got to be as clean as the outside for me.
They are. That is very impressive. Love this car. This is every one of your cars is just wonderful. Jim, thank you so much for hosting us and showing us the cars and telling us the history on all your cars, and your wife Debbie. You guys are fantastic hosts. Beautiful property.
Thank you.
Great cars, and thank you so much for being on an episode of Behind the Garage Door.
Okay. It's been great to have you. Come back.
See you at Cars and Coffee soon.
Absolutely.
All right. We'll head back to the dealership now. All right. We are back. Long trip back from Wauchula, Florida, but what a well worth it trip it was. Jim and Debbie, thank you so much for inviting us out to your beautiful home and showing us all of your really cool cars. Ferrari lovers, no doubt about that. And and how often do you run into, a husband and wife team where the wife is actually the track driver? I think that's awesome. Great people, Jim and Debbie are. Fantastic collection of cars. So thank you very much, Jim and Debbie, for having us out and hosting us for another episode of Behind the Garage Door. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. Hit us on the comments below so we can, get some ideas of some other stuff that you want to see, and what do you guys think of Jim and Debbie's collection. We'll talk to you next Thursday, as we do every Thursday, for another edition of Behind the Garage Door.
Stingray Chevrolet, relax, enjoy the day.